Morning. It's the last couple days of April here, April 27th, at Avon, Ohio. It's Thad from Willoway Nurseries. I'm out with our Japanese maples. Wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things we've had to go through here the last about 10 days. We've been dealing with a lot of cold weather here. Japanese maples, this is Emperor 1 in a 5-gallon. We've got really good quantities, looking great, but we had to do a lot of stuff to keep them this way. Once they're leafed out this far, the leaf is really expanded in Japanese maples. They're very sensitive to cold. We've had frost warnings over the last week. Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday mornings we had cold temperatures that were down where we could potentially have freezes. With that, we had to cover these houses back up again. We do what I've talked about in some other videos, a 3-side pull, which means we cut 3 sides of the plastic and pull it back off. That's to keep the temperature down because we don't want to push these along any farther than we have to. But we had to cover them back up again. And the result is we had we didn't lose any of the foliage on these. They look exceptional and ready to go. We feel pretty confident. We cut it back off this weekend so that we can keep them out in the nice and let them just develop on their own here. That's that. We moved over to one of our beds of Green Giant 25-gallon Chuja picadas. One of the things I like about this is that we're just starting to see this little bit of bronzing on the tips. The new growth has wanted to really come. These things are ready to put a lot of new growth on. One of the growing tips for this is if you want to really maximize what you're doing, keep them nice and moist. They love the moisture when they're pushing the new growth, and it'll keep coming, and you get a little extra out of it. So we monitor this too for nutrients. If you run a lot of water, you've got to watch what you're doing with nutrients. So we run leachates on this to make sure we keep the ECs up a little bit and keep our nitrates up so that they push the growth through. A couple other things, we're at 260-degree days. That's significant for a couple things with hawthorn. Hawthorn plant bug, adult emergence, and also leaf miner emergence happens right at this time. So if you're dealing with hawthorns, you probably want to be spraying right now if you get leaf miner as one of your issues. Right in this time is Fothergilla gets the first bloom, so you'll see that. You also have coral burst crabapple will be blooming at this time. We're going to have a significant thunderstorm tonight. It's going to be patchy in this area, Avon, Ohio. But our nighttime temperatures are going to stay 50 or above, and our daytime temperatures are upper 60s into the low 70s. We're going to accumulate degree days very quickly, and so what that means is we've got to be looking out a little bit further on what potential pests are coming out. At 275-degree days is imported willow leaf beetle. So if you have willows, like weeping willow, you'll probably be wanting that. That's a small black, very quick-moving bug. You can do a paper test where you just put a piece of paper and pat them onto that, and they'll show up. They're black. They look like about a pencil tip size. All right. So a couple other things to look forward to is also at 3:05 is we have a couple things in spruce that are important. We have Cooley's and Eastern Spruce Gala Delgit, first egg hatch. That kind of corresponds with new growth starting to want to come out. So you'll want to get a spray on those to protect them. The other issue that you can have, or what you should be looking at, a good indicator plant that they use in a lot of phenology is Van Hout spirea. It's the old bridles wreath. There's Renaissance, there's some improved varieties out there. They all bloom right in this time. It's a really good indicator plant for a lot of pests that are coming on in that window. We're really going to start to see the ramping up at this point when we get up around this 300 growing degree days of pests that emerge. On the disease side of things, still want to be watching for downy. Could become a big issue with the moisture. The other powdery mildew we're looking at. Botrytis is kind of starting to fade away a little bit, but we see anthracnose now could become an issue. The warmer nights will help kind of hold that back, but watch your moisture in the morning. and also watch what you're doing with certain plants, like Euonymus, winter creeper. You really want to watch what you're doing with water, not in at night, just a daytime water on something like that. You can anthracnose very easily. Watch root rots this time of year as well. There's a tendency to want to throw a lot of water out because things are changing. If you do too much water and it stays wet too long, especially when we have rainy overcast weather, certain plants like sedum aren't really going strong yet. If they haven't woke up, they'll rot very easily and you can have problems there. So kind of monitor where you're at. One of the things I like to look at is the root system, so pull the pot off, take a look. If you got white actively growing roots, that tells you that the plant's probably ready to start kind of going. You can watch what you're doing with water a little bit, but that's a good sign. If you don't see a lot of activity starting to wake up in the plants, keep water to a minimum to help them get through the root rot period here.